The workshop fell silent as Zoe scales rippled with iridescent fury. Her clawed hand slammed against the workbench, sending tools clattering across the metal floor. Parker didn't flinch. He'd worked under the Dragon Woman for 3 cycles now, long enough to know that her displays of anger were more spectacle than substance. "You're finished here, human," Ziwaxthara hissed, smoke curling from her nostrils. "Pack your things. I won't have incompetence in my workshop." Parker wiped the grease from his hands with deliberate slowness. Around them, the other mechanics, a mix of Centaurians, Vexlords, and one nervous Quilarian, pretended to focus on their work while straining to hear every word. "Incompetence?" Parker's voice was calm, almost amused. "You mean the antimatter coupling I realigned yesterday? The one that's been running at 40% over expected efficiency?" Zyxthara's tail lashed. "Your methods are unorthodox. Dangerous. You don't follow protocols. I get results. Results aren't everything when you risk the entire station." Her wings spread slightly, a dominance display that made the Quilarian squeak and duck behind a plasma welder. "Humans always think they know better than species with 10,000 years of engineering tradition. You're reckless, and I won't have it." Parker met her golden eyes without wavering. It was a strange thing about humans, Zyxthara had learned. They didn't have the proper fear responses. Where any sensible species would submit to a predator 3 times their size with breath hot enough to melt titanium, humans just looked at you. "Fine," Parker said, already moving toward his locker. "I've got offers from 3 other stations anyway." Zyxthara felt a flicker of something she refused to identify as regret. The human was good, exceptional, even, but he was too independent, too creative with established methods. He made her nervous in ways she couldn't articulate. She watched him gather his personal tools, each one lovingly maintained, some clearly improvised from materials that had no business being precision instruments. That was another thing about humans. They could make anything work. "Don't expect a recommendation," she called out, her pride demanding the last word. Parker just smiled and headed for the door. It was Faith who saw the ship first. She'd been running inventory in the supply bay, her data pad chirping its endless list of depleted stocks and backordered parts, when the entire station shuddered. Not the gentle vibration of a docking ship, but a deep, resonant thrum that seemed to emanate from the very structure of reality itself. Faith rushed to the nearest viewport and felt her breath catch. The ship was massive, not in the way that freight haulers were massive, but in the way that mountains were massive, that storms were massive. It seemed to fold space around itself, sleek and angular, its hull composed of some material that drank in the light of nearby stars and gave nothing back. "What the hell is that?" she whispered. Her communicator crackled. "All personnel, this is Station Chief Moravax. We have an unscheduled arrival. Remain calm," and the transmission cut off abruptly. Faith's engineering instincts kicked in. She brought up the station's sensor data on her datapad, but most of it showed nothing but static. Whatever that ship was, it was playing havoc with their instruments. Then she heard the voice that IT came through every speaker on the station simultaneously, deep and resonant, speaking in a language that made her bones ache with its fundamental wrongness. But beneath it, woven through it like a thread of sanity, was a single word in galactic standard: Ashkara. In her office, Zyxthara the Dragon Woman stood frozen, her true name. The name given to her in the sacred flames of her hatching, known only to her clutchmates and the Mother Fire itself. A name she had buried beneath layers of identity when she'd fled her homeworld 17 years ago. The name she'd sworn would die with her. Her claws dug into her desk as the voice spoke again, this time in the ancient tongue of her people. Ashkara of the Crimson Clutch. The debt remains. The oath endures. We have come. Panic surged through her, primal and absolute. She'd known this day might come, had spent nearly 2 decades looking over her shoulder, but she'd hoped, foolishly, desperately hoped, that she'd hidden herself well enough. Her communicator buzzed. It was Moravax, the station chief. "Zyxthara, what's happening? They're asking for you by name. What have you brought to my station?" Before she could answer, her office door hissed open. Parker stood in the doorway, that infuriating calm still on his face, but now there was something else there too. Calculation. "You're going to need a mechanic," he said simply. "I fired you." "Yeah, well, that was 5 minutes ago. This is now." He stepped inside, letting the door close behind him. That ship out there is using a quantum-locked antimatter drive, something nobody's successfully built in 300 years. If they're here to cause trouble, they'll destabilize this entire sector when they power it down. The station doesn't have the shielding to. Why are you telling me this? ZYXThara's voice cracked like breaking ice. Parker's expression softened slightly. Because whatever you're running from just caught up. And because Faith radioed me from the supply bay, saying she saw the power couplings starting to overload. This station has maybe 20 minutes before critical systems start failing. ZYXThara's mind raced. The ship had come for her, yes, but it had also come here, endangering hundreds of innocents. The oath they spoke of, it was ancient, binding, terrible, but she'd left that world behind. She'd built something new. What do you need? She asked. Parker blinked, apparently surprised by the question. Then he grinned. That reckless, confident human grin. I need my job back. I need faith and access to the primary power grid. And I need you to trust me to be as unorthodox as necessary. You're insane. I'm human. Goes with the territory. He extended his hand. Deal. ZYXThara looked at his hand, then at the viewport where the impossible ship waited like a coiled serpent. She thought of her true name, her buried past, and the uncertain future. She clasped his hand with her claw. Deal. Now let's save this station before I regret this. As they rushed toward the power core, Parker's communicator chimed. Faith's voice came through, steady despite the chaos. Parker, I've already started rerouting backup power. What's the plan? Same as always, Parker replied, sharing a glance with ZYXThara. We improvise. And for the first time in 17 years, Ashkara, who had become ZYXThara, allowed herself to hope that maybe, just maybe, humans and their reckless ingenuity were exactly what she needed.